I'm Meredith with XT, and a customer and a close friend of ours, Achilles, came to us with his stock 2022 JL and wanted to do a complete overhaul. Now, he wanted his JL to be able to handle the occasional light off-roading and look the part, but also fit his family's needs, as this is going to be a daily driver that they take trips to the beach and camping trips with. So, working with Achilles, I picked out a ton of parts tailored to his lifestyle that's going to balance style, comfort, and performance. And as you can see, we have completely transformed this Jeep, and I'll show you what we did to transform his bone stock JL. But first, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss any other cool builds like this, and of course all of our essential product review and install videos. However, that's enough for me. Let's go ahead and check it out. Now, the foundation of any build is in the suspension, the wheels, and the tires. Now, the suspension was a no-brainer, considering Achilles wanted a mild lift to fit the wheels and tires with a more aggressive appearance, while also keeping it to the premium side for optimal drivability on and off-road, especially with the amount of driving that he's doing. Now, the JKS Manufacturing 2.5-inch J-Control heavy-duty rate coil suspension lift kit with Fox 2.5 IFP Performance Series shocks was that sweet spot. Now, the Fox 2.5s here with the IFP, or internal floating piston, will allow for comfortable and responsive driving, especially off-road on those sandy washboards, while maintaining a long lifespan with the nitrogen-charged monotube design and tough outer shell. This kit also comes with everything that you need to correct those thrown off angles to maintain factory-like drivability with no questions asked, which is exactly what we needed. Now, that includes the track bar, sway bar end links, front and back, bump stop extensions, and most importantly, the front lower control arm drop brackets. Now, the 2.5 inches in height is also perfect to comfortably fit a 35-inch tire to fill out that wheel well very nicely for good fitment, while also allowing some room for articulation. Now, speaking of tires, we added the Nitto Ridge Grappler all-terrain tire in a 35 by 12.5-inch R17. Now, as you can see, this fits perfectly inside the wheel well here, with room to move around just in case Achilles does come into any obstacles and needs that extra up travel. Now, what's most important about this choice is the type of tire. Now, although everybody wants a super aggressive appearance when it comes to a tire, sometimes you have to dial the looks back a little bit to gain some comfort on the pavement. Now, we didn't have to compromise too much here, considering these still offer an aggressive appearance that gives it that off-road feel while maintaining a quiet and smooth ride on a daily basis. Now, the star of the show here when it comes to style are these Fuel Rebel matte black wheels in a 17 by 9. Now, I think that this is just an overall really good looking wheel to begin with, and these surprisingly enough ignited the fire for this build and the style choices behind it, with that stealthy and very sleek aesthetic with the all black build, mesh spokes, and the simulated beadlock detailing around the edges. Now, these aren't all about style though. The sizing was carefully planned to allow for a good sidewall to wheel diameter ratio to allow enough room to air down on that sand, while the negative 12mm offset pushes out the wheel just far enough for an aggressive stance and offers some better stability at the same time. Now, while we're here, like I mentioned, we wanted some more room inside the wheel well area, and we wanted a very sleek way to do it. Now, the Bushwhacker Hyperform flat style fender flares achieved that perfectly, and we mounted these up to the front and the rear. Now, these will feature that flat design, which not only offers the extra room, but it also does something for the look, especially with having the factory style appearance to them, just in a super sleek form, which I think looks absolutely incredible. Now, what I think I like most about this set though is the slim DRL and the turn signal on the front, tying it all together, keeping that factory essential lighting and just adding that touch of premium styling, especially with the sequential function. Now, with these, we also needed protection to the side of the engine bay, since we did have to ditch our factory inner fender liners, which is pretty common with aftermarket fenders. We went with the Barricade aluminum inner fender liners for the front and rear, and these are incredibly functional and durable thanks to the aluminum material and honeycomb venting on the front for good heat dispersion for those longer drives, and best part of all is that they're easy on the wallet. Most importantly, it adds that finished appearance to the front and rear wheel wells, which is very important when it comes to the styling of this build. So now that we're over at the front, we can take a look at our next set of mods that, like I said, will add more protection, more functionality, and a whole lot more style. Now starting off here with the main focus, this is the LOD Off-Road Destroyer mid-width front bumper with the bull bar in black. Now this was one of Achilles' top picks because of the sleek look, the retention of the factory fog lights, and the winch mount. Not to mention the ability to customize it with lighting, which we'll get to in just a minute. Now, as you can see, this is going to have a good sized bull bar up top to offer that grille protection and of course add more of that heavy duty look, but I really like the fact that as a whole, this is going to be more of a slim style bumper, which will help out with clearance and maneuverability if he needs it, and most importantly, it's going to add that sleek styling that we're really looking to achieve thanks to those fuel wheels really setting the tone. Now, in addition to the bumper, this is also going to have the LOD Destroyer skid plate, which will not only offer good protection, but it's also going to add a more finished appearance to the front bumper. Now, we also wanted to add a winch, like I mentioned before, so up top, we're looking at the Rough Country Pro Series 12,000 pound winch with the synthetic rope. Now, with the beach in mind, we did want to make sure that Achilles was able to get himself out of a situation or help out a friend in a situation, because the sand, as we all know, is just not forgiving. Now, the winch with this pulling capacity combination is going to be perfect for this heavier four-door build. The synthetic rope is going to do very well, especially in sandy or saltier climates, although it will require a little bit more maintenance and cleaning. This is definitely going to have the one up on steel when it comes to longevity in that climate or that setting. Last but not least, if you haven't noticed, these are not the factory fog lights. This set of fog lights is the Raxium Axial Series LED fog light set, and these are going to match the headlights perfectly, as well as the other LED upgraded lighting on the Jeep. Not only are they going to have that super stealthy look with the black housing and the projector lenses on the inside, but they're going to perform it just as well thanks to the clean, bright LED lighting, offering a nice footprint of light for better visibility at night. Now, if you were paying attention, like I mentioned, we did a lot of other upgrading in the lighting department. These LED projector headlights with the black housing and the clear lens really give the Jeep a nice facelift and improve the performance, and they also match very well with the fog lights. Now, what I think I like best about these is that it's a nice update on the factory LED design, but they have more sleekness to the light with the black housing. Again, we wanted to stick with that darker and more premium approach while remaining incredibly functional, and these headlights do just that. Now, to finish off the look at the bumper and personalize it just that much further, we've added the KC Gravity Pro LED lights in a 6-inch driving beam, and these will do fantastic at boosting the headlight performance that much more. Now, the driving beam will offer a similar beam to the headlight, shining pretty far and wide down the road, which will just amplify the lighting performance. Not only that, but Achilles really wanted to stick with that classic appearance when it came to accessory lighting, and what's best about the Gravity Pro is that this gives the classic circular KC appearance while integrating high-tech back-facing LED technology to give you the lighting performance that you would want out of an aftermarket light. Now, we also wanted to add some additional lighting on top. Now, up top, we went for more of that modern feel while keeping it simple and sleek with the Rough Country 50-inch Black Series single-row straight LED light bar with the upper windshield mounting brackets. Now, this was a perfect combination because it had everything included when it came to the brackets, wiring, and it fit incredibly well with the aesthetic that we were trying to achieve. Now, that single row adds just the right amount of light without going over the top, considering we have other accessory lighting here, and it's going to keep it more simplified compared to a curved or a dual row setup. It also integrates a spot and a spread beam combo, which is going to give distance and more width from this light than the other lighting, which is going to enhance the range of visibility that much more. Now, that pretty much covers the front, and you know we didn't stop there, so let's head around back and check out what we did. Now, the rear end may look a little familiar because we wanted to make sure that this matched on all aspects of the build. Now, starting off with the rear bumper, this is the LOD Off-Road Destroyer full width rear bumper in black, and this is going to give us full coverage, full protection, and full capability on the rear end of the Wrangler. Now, as you can see, just like the front bumper, this LOD bumper is going to have a number of different benefits, including rear end recovery points in those just-in-case moments if Achilles gets stuck. Now, you also have a larger cutout for that oversized wheel and tire that we definitely need, along with the ability to keep the factory hitch. Now, what's also great about this rear bumper is that it has 3-inch cutouts for accessory lighting to assist in back-end visibility, whether that's backing up at night or simply using them as a work light. Now, mounted up in those cutouts are the Deviate Off-Road 3-inch Elite Series LED flush mount pod lights. These will have a flood beam pattern, so when they're turned on, they're going to have a very wide spread of light to offer a lot of visibility in addition to the lighting on the taillights. They also perfectly fit with the theme for the lighting with the black housing and the clear lens, just like we have up front. Now that theme continues with the taillights. These are the Rexseam LED taillights with the black housing and the smoke blends. These will replicate that factory LED taillight with the performance and the housing, but they're going to have a stealthier look with that smoke lens on the front. These will modernize the back end of the Wrangler, and that LED reverse light will be much more substantial when it comes to visibility. Now, getting away from the lighting, as we all know, when you add a larger wheel and tire to your Jeep, you're also adding a larger spare to match. Now, the larger tire always takes a toll on those factory hinges, causing the tailgate to wear out over time, droop, and just not function properly. Now, we wanted to eliminate all of that worry with the TerraFlex Alpha HD hinge spare tire carrier and adjustable spare tire mount. Now, this is going to be incredibly sleek and have a low profile look mounted up to the back of the Jeep, and is going to be incredibly strong to match. So if Achilles wants to upgrade to a larger tire in the future, he can do so without a doubt. This will also most importantly retain all of the factory features, including the third brake light, which is relocated into the center of the wheel there, and the rear backup camera being swapped into this new aluminum setup. This will also have a quick release lever, making it very easy to access your spare. If you do get into a situation where you need it, you can pop it off and access your tire. Now, as you saw, we have a ton of lights, and we needed a way to keep them organized and also avoid modding the interior of the Jeep for all of the switches that came with all of the lights. Now, the mod that really saved us here was the Rough Country MLC 6 multiple light controller with the lower dash mount kit. Because this is a sport, it doesn't come with the Mopar switch panel, so we needed a solution to control all of the lighting accessories on this JL, and Rough Country had the perfect solution. This is going to control both the front and rear bumper mounted lights and the light bar. That's going to make it very easy for Achilles to switch them on whenever he wants to, and he also doesn't have to worry about the random wiring inside of the engine bay being attached to his battery and multiple switches hanging around the dash. This also mounts into a super sleek and easily accessible location, staying out of the way, making it an overall great mod if you're looking to mount up multiple lights like we did. Now, another update inside of the JL are these Red Rock True Shield series neoprene front and rear seat covers. This mod was an absolute no-brainer. Achilles has a couple of kids, and as a mom myself, I couldn't agree more with him that he needed a durable set of seat covers to make sure that his factory seats stayed in mint condition. Now, coverage was one thing that we had in mind, but we also wanted to keep it very comfortable while protecting the factory seats. Now, what's best about this is the construction tailors to both of those needs. These True Shield covers are made of a neoprene material with a foam backing, so they're going to remain incredibly comfy for those longer drives, especially when he's driving to work every day and to and from the beach, while also being water and spill resistant because of the water wicking neoprene material. Now, for his lifestyle with kids, being a daily driver, and taking his rig off-road into the beach, again, seat covers were a win, and they look great while doing it thanks to the form, fit, and full coverage design. Our last stop on our walk around here is underneath the hood. Now, with all of that weight that we've added when it comes to the armor and the heavier rotational mass of the wheels and tires, all that's going to take a little bit away from the performance when it comes to driving, and that's not what we want to happen. Now, a good way to gain a little bit of that back is with a cold air intake. Now, the one that we have on the Jeep here is the S&B cold air intake with the dry extendable filter. The specific one will do a fantastic job at gaining some of that lost power back and some throttle response thanks to the increase in airflow and decrease in restriction. That's thanks to a couple different things when it comes to the design, like the large straight through style intake tube and the high flow filter. Now, not only are we getting better performance with the filter when it comes to airflow, but we're also getting some better filtration to keep contaminants out of the intake system. Now, this is going to have the dry extendable filter as it says in the name. Now, oil can get pretty messy and it can be a little higher maintenance, so we wanted to avoid that, but we also wanted to make sure that this is going to be a premium low maintenance setup that will get the job done when it comes to function and last a long time while doing it. This will also be much more protected than the open airbox or heat shield solution, while allowing you to see the filter for aesthetic reasons, but most importantly to keep an eye out for when you have to maintenance or clean the filter. Another addition that we made, which isn't necessarily underneath the hood, but it plugs into the body control unit and has to do with the computer, is this little thing. Now this is the SuperChips FlashCal Plus. Like I said, drivability with this build is essential, and what this FlashCal will do is allow you to flash your Jeep's PCM with the correct information when it comes to your wheels, your tires, the sizing, your gearing, and other important information that retain factory-like drivability. Now, even though we didn't change our gearing, that's something that Achilles wants to keep in mind for the future, and this little device is going to allow it. Now, we did also upgrade the diameter of the tire, which can take away from some performance when it comes to your transmission and optimal shift points, and by changing the sizing on here, you're going to gain some of that back. This is also going to have multiple different functions, including the ability to adjust and control TPMS functions, off-road functions for compatible models, to read and clear trouble codes, and control all of your lighting. Now, the best part of all is that it does all of that in a tiny low-profile device that you plug into your BCM or body control module, and it also comes with a little dongle that you plug into your OBD2, and you can control all of that right through your smartphone on the SuperChips app. Now, it makes it incredibly easy to switch it up on the fly and customize whenever you need to, making it a great mod for not only this build, but for any build. So that about covers it for this all-inclusive build. Now, as I mentioned at the beginning, every part and step throughout this build process was completely intentional to be sure that comfortability and capability were in balance. And I think we definitely achieved that, and now we want to hear from you. Now, what do you think about this build, or what would you have done differently for your lifestyle? Now, as always, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more custom builds just like this, as well as other product review and install videos, and always keep it right here at extremeterrain.com.